Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling Sacramento. Buying the block back. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling Sacramento. Buying the block back. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling Sacramento. Buying the block back. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling Sacramento. Buying the block back.
Agent Key is selling Sacramento. She selling Sacramento. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. She selling Sacramento. Agent Key is selling Sacramento. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Hey y'all, thanks for tuning in.
5, 2, here we go.
Hey everyone, it is Wednesday and we are selling Sacramento on 97.5 FM KDEE. Just a reminder that Selling Sacramento is brought to you by Matthews and Company Realty Group. I'm Key Matthews, the broker and owner with almost 20 years in the industry. I love helping you buy, sell, and retain real estate. If you have a home to sell, if you're ready to have the conversation and map out a plan towards home ownership, visit agentkey.com. agentkee.com and schedule your free consultation. You can email me, chat with me, set up a new buyer consultation, or start the process of getting your home sold. We are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Just search Selling Sacramento Agent Key on your favorite platform and join the conversation. Let me know that you're there by typing in the chat and say, hey, ask a question, or join in the conversation with your feedback. I love to hear from you on social media. So on today's show, we are talking about credit. And actually, the show is entitled Bounce Back from Bad Credit from blah to bravo in months. That's right. I got the goods for you right here. And I'm a living witness. I got a testimony, y'all. Before we get into that, though, I always want to bring you the latest information that is impacting our community, and not just here in Sacramento, but around the state. And this in particular may actually impact the country. Before we dive into today's topic about transforming our financial journey and bouncing back from bad credit, I believe that it is essential to allocate a segment of my platform to crucial discussions that resonate deeply with me and have a profound impact on our community. Reparations. It's not just a buzzword, it's a call for justice, understanding, and healing. And as I continuously search for ways to contribute to this monumental cause, I have invited a trailblazer in the reparations movement, Chris Lodgson. And as the founder of CJEC, Chris's commitment to advocating for reparations and reparative justice, it's unparalleled. He gets called on from some of everybody. He is thick and deep in this. So today we're going to give him the platform for the first 10-15 minutes of the show. And not only as a service to our community, but to amplify the work that CJEC is doing and to provide clarity on why reparations are needed. And so by sharing this knowledge, I hope that it helps to foster understanding, connection, and awareness within our community. So we're going to commence our segment by getting a pulse on the current state of reparations. I want to welcome Chris. Chris, you take your, there you go. Hey, sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you, Key. Thank you so much for having me. Shout out to the whole audience, YouTube, radio, peace.
Yes, we are always excited to have you on the show. Thank you for everything that you're doing. I want to jump into it and kind of give everyone a little bit of a background because reparations, it's been prominent in California's news lately. There have been multiple outlets, including Fox News and the LA Times, that are reporting like 59% of Californians don't support cash reparations. And the interpretation of this stat, it varies, but some see it as rejection, while others, like a Fox News piece that I read, see it as potential for more advocacy. And the California Congressional Black Caucus is responding with an educational push. And so their goal, of course, is to clarify the importance of reparations with, given the recent opposition. Politico activity thing is a booger. There we are. I think Dosti pressed a button and made it come back on. But Politico discusses California's strategy. They recommend specific payments to address different challenges that Blacks have faced, aiming for a tailored solution rather than a one-size-fits-all, right?
Yes.
And so despite the opposition, grassroots efforts are active. The San Diego Union Tribune highlighted a recent San Francisco rally where many supported the local reparations.
Oh, yeah.
And so, in short, even though the opinions on reparations in California are varied, the discussion is ongoing, detailed, and it's changing. That's what I want to say. So I want to introduce everyone to you, Chris. You are a man who has been at the forefront of reparations in California. You're the founder of the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California, or CJEC, or how did CJEC? Is that
CJEC? Both work, and one of the lead organizers. Yes, absolutely.
One of the lead organizers. Yes. And you're more than just an advocate and an organizer. You are, and the team that you work with, symbolize a beacon of hope and resilience in this fight for reparations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Our state. Yeah. And so you work tirelessly, Chris. We see it. You ensure that our voices are heard, and not only heard, but that they're met with action. I
Right.
just love seeing you move. You are a doer in the utmost
Thank
descriptive
you. I appreciate that. Oh
of
my
the
goodness. I
word.
need you to give me this intro. Send me this intro via email. I'm going to use it.
I will. It's being recorded, so I can send it to you. So let's just dive right in.
Yeah.
With recent polls that show that a majority of California voters oppose cash reparations, what's your response and interpretation of these results?
Yeah. So I think this is actually very important. So my first response is that this is a very important first poll or snapshot of where some California voters are. This was a poll done by UC Berkeley, and then it was picked up by the LA Times. And there were 4 questions asked in the poll, which I actually think the poll had some really good results in it too. So I want to talk a little bit about that. The first question that was asked was, do you think the legacy of slavery currently impacts Black Californians now and descendants of slavery now in California? The answer by a majority of those polled was yes. I think it was like 60 something percent said yes. I think the second question that was asked was, do you think California is doing enough to address that legacy of slavery? I think a majority voted and said no. California is not doing enough. And then the third question was, have you read, seen, heard anything about California State Reparations Task Force? A majority of folks said yes, they had. So I think those three results and those 3 answers are actually positive for us. And then the fourth question was, do you support one of the State Reparations Task Force recommendations for direct cash payments? And this was actually mixed. If you put all the numbers together, there was a majority that said no. But if you broke down the numbers and actually looked at the numbers, of course, Black folks said overwhelmingly 75% plus said yes. If you look at actually the Democratic voters that were talked to in the poll, it was about 40% saying, or 43% saying yes, and 42% saying no. So it's actually split among Democrats, and then among Republicans, it was a big 91%.
Thank you so much for clarifying that, because that shows how the media, how if you have a very loud platform, far-reaching platform, you can take a piece of information and frame it to look the way that you want it to.
Yeah. I think the headline, the headline was actually worse than the polling. Actually, doesn't mean that that there aren't challenges. I think there were 2 general reasons for why folks said that they oppose the direct payments, the direct cash compensation, and both of those reasons revolved around fairness, or quote unquote fairness. The first major reason was it's not fair to ask taxpayers today to pay for something that happened in the past. And then secondly, it's not fair to single out one group of people for repair when there are other groups that have had harm done to them also. So those were two very, very clear reasons why folks said no. I think those actually present opportunities for us actually over the coming months.
I was just going to add to that, because this is now a really good discussion that's taking place, getting these types of findings. So how does CJEC plan to address or pivot in light of these findings? And I know that you have a response.
Yes, we do. So in a few different ways. First, we're going directly at the kinds of thoughts and attitudes that we saw in this particular poll. This particular recommendation around direct payments and direct cash is a very, very important recommendation. To us, it's actually at the core of the other recommendations and the core of the overall effort. Really, this is about rebuilding our wealth, as a people, and that is core and critical to anything that we do related to reparations. But as for how we're responding, so first we are educating the public. That's the first thing that we're doing. We're spending a lot of time and a lot of energy educating the public, addressing those 2 particular concerns and 2 particular points of opposition directly by educating folks who have those thoughts and ideas, and bringing some of those folks from where they are now to where we want them to be, which is to support. Some of those folks can be moved, and I want to make that clear. Some of those folks in that group of folks who oppose can be moved to support with more education and more awareness. So we're focusing on that. We're also focusing on bringing in, and this is important to note, that this poll was conducted online among California voters across regions in our state. So what we're also doing is reaching out to bring in new voters who may be supportive of what we're doing too, because we know that there are a lot of folks who do support reparations in California, do support direct payments, direct cash, but who may not be right now registered voters or even likely voters. So we're actually going to bring in some new folks who are supportive also. There's more that we're doing too. We're working to organize organizations and a whole bunch of other things too, but those are some of the things that we're doing now and will continue to do over the next 3 to 5 months, really.
Now we have just a few more minutes, and I had a few more questions for
Yeah,
you.
right
So
on.
we're gonna have to bring you back for a whole show versus just
Yes,
a
yes.
moment. But I want to give you an opportunity to provide the going forward update.
Yes.
Where do we go from here? What
Yeah,
has
so
recently transpired, and where do we go from here?
yeah, great question. Thank you. So there's 3 big things that's going to happen next here in California for California reparations. The first thing is that reparations bills will be written and introduced into the state legislature over the next 3 to 5 months. So between now and let's say early next year, let's say February of next year, we expect between a half dozen to a dozen reparations bills to be introduced into the state legislature. That is going to make history in and of itself. That's never happened in California history. And as we say, each of us is sitting and living in a history book right now, literally, because that is literally going to happen over the next 3 to 5 months. The second thing that's going to happen after that, so from, let's say, February of next year through the summer of 2024, is that those bills will be passed by a majority of the state Senate and a majority of the state assembly. And I'm speaking it into existence because I expect our state Senate and state assembly to pass those reparations bills sometime between early next year and the summer of next year. We need 21 senators to vote yes, and we need 41 assembly members to vote yes in the period between February and let's say summer of next year. The third thing that's going to happen is that those bills that are passed will then be on our governor's desk for him to really take advantage of what is, I think, a historical opportunity that he has to sign what may be some of the most transformational and historic legislation in California history. And that you can expect to happen sometime between midsummer to, let's say, early fall of next year. So there's 3 big phases that are happening next, and we expect to be successful next year.
Awesome, Chris. I know we're short on time here.
Right
I
on.
always thank you for your insights and your dedication, but we got to have you back.
Yeah.
Cause of reparation and justice. It's enlightening and it's inspiring. And what is good for the least is good for all. And we can't see it right now, but these types of conversations are truly important. We appreciate you taking the time to share with us today, and
My
your
pleasure.
effort and your work. It is just, it's a testament to the power of advocacy and the change that it can bring about. You are correct.
Thank you.
We are living in a very historical moment. And so
Yes, we are.
thank you again. Thank you for being with us on Selling
My pleasure.
Sacramento.
Yes, see you
We'll
soon.
see you at the next update. Yes, sir. Take care. Bye-bye. So with that being said, y'all, we're going to take a break. But when we come back, we're going to jump into something super important, taking control of our money, having a good financial game. It isn't just about the dollars in our pockets, but it's about having solid credit too. So if you are feeling down about your credit score, we've got your back. Up next, we are going to dive into bounce back from bad credit, from blah to bravo in months. Get ready to grab some tips and tricks to get you back on track. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we will be right back.
Empowerment Center, also known as the FEC, is a public service offered by the City of Sacramento through which local residents can receive professional, personalized one-on-one financial coaching. Sometimes when people think of a free service, they might think of it as low quality, but we're really the opposite of that. We strive to be super high quality in everything that we do at our work. I know people tend to be hesitant about talking about financial issues. It's something that, in our culture is not always acceptable to talk about, but just know that this is a safe space at the FEC.
So as a financial coach, my role is to be a guide. It's to equip my clients, to give them the tools and the resources, helping them with savings, with access to safe and affordable banking, increasing and improving their credit, reducing their debt, to build on the knowledge they already have, to help them meet those goals.
Anytime that you are partnering with somebody to meet your goals, it's very empowering because you have that extra person to motivate you. After the program, I feel more empowered to make better financial decisions and budget more effectively. My credit has shot up tremendously. I feel very great about the future. I'm almost ready to buy a home. I'm actually looking right now.
We offer services in both English and Spanish, and we also offer interpretation services in many other languages as well.
Bueno, mi experiencia, puedo decir que fue muy bien. Fue genial porque aprendí mucho y la verdad me ayudó como a abrir los ojos en realidad en los gastos que hacíamos y también necesitaba aprender más acerca de las cuentas de ahorros para los niños y el poder ahorrar un poquito para lo del colegio. Entonces antes pues gastábamos sin necesitarlo y ahora me hace como más consciente en lo que en verdad necesito y a lo que quiero. Bueno, pues ahora tengo esperanza en que pronto llegaremos a comprar una casa.
This work of the FEC is really personally meaningful to me because I grew up with really excellent parents, but they did struggle with money, and so I saw really firsthand the kind of struggles that creates, the stress. And that kind of stress is something that really affects people's physical health, their mental health. So to now be able to do work to help other folks both avoid crisis and also reach their goals, that's really personally satisfying for me.
For someone who's considering the program, my advice to you would be to just sign up and go for it. There's nothing to lose. You have everything to gain, which is financial responsibility and financial empowerment. You have a group of supportive counselors here to help you and nurture you along the way.
If you're interested in working with a financial empowerment coach, we would love to support you. So please give us a call at 916-808-4927 or email us at fec@cityofsacramento.org.
Two. Here we go.
Hey everyone, we're back. Want to give a quick shout out to Miss Julie, Ronnie Woodard, Miss Emma Ty, all watching online. And there's some more folks watching online. If y'all say something in the chat, I can say, hey, right back to you. Have you ever heard someone talk about their credit score and think, what on earth is that and why should I care? Well, today is your lucky day. Think of your credit score as a financial report card. It's a number typically between 300 and 850. Yes. And it tells lenders just how trustworthy you are when it comes to borrowing and paying back money. Imagine lending a friend $10. If you know they'll pay you back because they always have in the past, then you're more likely to lend it to them again, right? Your credit score works the same way, but for banks, credit card companies, and other lenders. So why is all of this important? Well, it impacts some pretty big things in your life. Are you dreaming of buying a house or a car? Your credit score will decide if you can get that loan and at what interest rate. And the better the score, the more money you save over time when your interest rate is lower. A better score gets you a lower rate. Even things like renting an apartment or getting certain jobs can hinge on your credit health. Yeah. So in short, a solid financial credit score opens doors. It's like a golden ticket to better financial deals and opportunities. So understanding and taking care of it, that is money smart and a big win for your future. We're going to slide into our first segment of this show. And this is where and how to check your credit report and score. I didn't mention that you need to grab a pen and paper, but that might be helpful, or whatever device you want to take notes on. Or if you go to my website, my blog, it's already there, the outline for today's show. And there's a link waiting for the podcast. After this show is done, it's going to be added right to that page. So you'll be able to go back and listen to this over and over again until you get it right for what you need it to do, for what you need your credit to do. So where and how to check your credit report and score. Everyone should be aware of their credit standing. And fortunately, checking your credit report and your credit score is more accessible than ever. The first is a site called annualcreditreport.com. By law, you are entitled to one free credit report every year from each of the three major credit bureaus: Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. So simply head on over to annualcreditreport.com, the only official site explicitly authorized by federal law to claim yours. And it's a comprehensive look at your credit history without any cost. The second place are credit score services. So many financial institutions and credit card companies now provide free access to your credit score as a part of their service. For example, I have a card through Capital One, and the Capital One app allows me to see my credit score. They send me all other types of opportunities as a result of my credit score improving over time. And it makes it real convenient to know what your score is doing, to see what, and so on. So these are often visible when you log into your online banking or through their mobile apps. Then we have credit monitoring services. Websites like Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, or myfico.com, they all offer free and paid services. Not only do you get access to your credit report and score, but they can also monitor your credit for any significant changes, which can be handy for detecting fraud or identity theft. Then you can get information directly from the credit bureaus. Each of the major credit bureaus offer their own credit monitoring services as well. So these typically come with a monthly fee, but they provide detailed insights, often with more frequent updates and added features like identity theft protection. I have a subscription to Experian's credit monitoring service for my credit score. And then we have what's called soft versus hard inquiries. So remember, you're checking your own credit report, or when you do that, when you check your own credit report or your credit score, it's called a soft inquiry. It will not affect your credit score. However, when a lender checks because you've applied for credit, like when you're applying for a credit card or a loan, it is called a hard inquiry, and it can impact your credit score slightly. Next, we want you to stay informed, and it's recommended that you check your credit report at least annually. If you're planning a significant purchase like a home, it's wise to check it in advance and start monitoring it well in advance, months in advance, to ensure that everything is accurate and that you're in the best position for the loan approval. So understanding your credit score and your credit report, knowing where to access it, those are the first steps to ensuring your financial wellness. It's an empowerment tool that lets you take charge of your financial journey. Now we're going to talk about information on the credit report. So your credit report, it is essentially a financial report card that shows how you've managed money over time. So let's dissect what is actually in the credit report. What items are in this? What do they mean? How do you navigate them? Number one, your personal information is in it. This will include your name, your addresses, current, past, and present, your social security number, your birth date, and even possibly employment details. And this information is not used to determine your credit score, but you want to make sure that it's accurate to prevent identity theft and fraud. So if you see addresses on there that don't belong to you, you don't want to ease by that and pretend that you didn't see it. You want to reach out to the bureaus and let them know that those addresses are incorrect. Next on the credit report are your credit accounts. And here's where you'll find details of credit cards, mortgages, student loans, and other credit accounts under your name. Each account will show your loan amount or credit limit, account balance, payment history, and the date you opened or closed the account. You'll also find on your credit report credit inquiries, whether you're applying for a new line of credit. When you apply for a new line of credit, a hard inquiry is made. And these can slightly impact your score, especially if there's a lot in a short time. They do drop off after 2 years. So take note of that. As you are looking and getting these inquiries, don't think that they'll stay there, because they will drop off after a couple of years. Then we also have on the report public records and collections. And this is a very crucial section. This is going to display if you've had any financial missteps like bankruptcies, tax liens, or civil judgments. These can seriously harm your credit. Before we go any further, I want to congratulate you for listening to this show, because this is the hard part. This is the information that we often want to dismiss and breeze by. We don't want to deal with it. It's the elephant in the room. And at the same time, if we do deal with it, it can create a huge positive financial trajectory in our lives. And not just financial, mental health, social. You stop running from folks and you start answering the phone again. And, it's a very freeing thing to tackle this elephant in the room. So congratulations for tuning into the show today and making the decision to take the next step to improve your credit, or to just get informed to help somebody else, right? What else is on the credit report? The age of your credit. This is the average age of all of your accounts combined. A longer credit history will positively affect your score. And we're going to talk about that a little more in the show later, about removing things from your credit report. You want to be careful what you remove. And you don't want to be haphazard, because you could take something off that actually could impact your score in a positive way. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The other item that we find on this credit report are details on late or missed payments. And so this part is really critical as well. Timely payments are significant, a huge component of your credit score. So the more you pay your bills on time, there's a large percentage of that makes up whether or not your score goes up or down. We'll get into the percentages of that as well. Any late or missed payments will be listed in this area. So staying on top of your payments is very important. These items stay on your credit report for up to 7 years. So remember, the information on this report forms the basis of your credit score. Review it regularly and ensure that it's accurate, and take action if you find errors. Your financial health depends on it. Now we're going to address inaccuracies and disputes. And many people find things on their credit report that are inaccurate, or they want to dispute it. And the first thing they want to do is make a beeline to a company who says that they can help them take it off your credit report. But I'm going to share with you today how you can do it yourself. I just did it not long ago, and I'll share that with you as well. When you have an inaccuracy on your credit report, it can be a pain point, but addressing it's crucial so that you can keep your credit score improved and improve your borrowing potential. So here's some step-by-steps on how to handle these discrepancies. Number one is to verify the error. On most apps where you can, if you are using an app through one of the credit bureaus directly, like Experian or TransUnion, you can actually simply click a button that says you want to dispute it, and it will take you to the next step of disputing, how to dispute that item. So before raising a dispute, you want to cross-check all of the information on your credit report to ensure that the inaccuracy is not due to something you overlooked personally or in your recent financial activity. Next, you want to gather the evidence. If you're sure that it's an error, collect any documentation that supports your claim. This could be bank receipts, bank statements, any receipts, or anything that's related to the document that contradicts the inaccuracy of the information on your credit report. And then third, you want to contact the credit bureau. Write a formal dispute letter to the credit bureau that produced the report with the inaccuracy. Clearly explain the error and include copies, not originals, of that documentation that supports your case. And again, the three primary bureaus are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. All of them have online portals that make this super easy to submit these disputes, making the process quicker. So you can use snail mail if you'd like, but if you are just slightly computer savvy, you can go right online directly to their sites and dispute it at the click of a button. You then want to reach out to the provider. Simultaneously, you want to contact the company or the creditor that provided the incorrect information and let them know about the discrepancy and share the evidence. Often they'll acknowledge the error and they'll report the correction to the Bureau themselves. And next is the wait for the investigation. Once a dispute is lodged, credit bureaus typically have 30 days to investigate it. They'll contact the information provider, and if the provider doesn't respond within that window, or if they don't acknowledge the mistake, the Bureau will then adjust your credit report accordingly. You don't need to do anything further except number 6, which is check the resolution. After the investigation, the Bureau will provide you with the outcome. And if the dispute resulted in a change, they'll give you a fresh copy of your credit report free of charge. Review the report, make sure that it's accurate, and make sure that things have been corrected. And then finally, adding a personal statement. If the Bureau's decision doesn't go the way that you want it to go, and you still believe that the information is wrong, you can add a brief statement to your credit report explaining your side. And so future creditors will see this when checking your report. Remember, vigilance is key. Monitoring your credit report helps catch errors early on and making that resolution process even smoother. So taking charge of discrepancies, understanding the dispute process, these are all integral when maintaining a healthy financial profile. We're going to jump right into the main factors that affect your credit scores and how to improve them. Am I going too fast? I hope not. We got just a little bit of time, y'all. So I speed like the Dickens to get through this information. So here are some main factors that affect your credit score and how to improve them. Like we already said, the credit report is like a report card. And just like in school, like with a report card, various factors determine your grade. So we're going to delve into the components that shape your credit score and ways to boost them. That's right. Number 1 is the payment history. And I talked about that earlier, paying your bills on time. Guess what percentage it makes up of your credit score? 35%. That's a huge amount. And this tracks if you've paid your bills on time. It's the single biggest factor affecting your credit score. And here is a boost tip. Really easy. Pay your bills on time. Set up auto pay or reminders to ensure you don't miss due dates. Number 2 is credit utilization. Your credit utilization makes up 30%. That's the next largest percentage. And it's the ratio of your current credit card balances to your credit limits. How much of your credit are you using? If you have a $5,000 credit card and you're using $1,000 of it, so that's how it's making up the percentage. I wanted to take a rounded number. Let me do the math. I want to keep it simple. Keep it simple, Keisha. If you have a $5,000 credit card and you're using $1,000 of it, you have a 20% credit utilization on that card. Does that make sense? And so when you hear people say, don't use any more than 30% of your card, or 30% of your credit that you have available, including cards. You want to start specifically with a card. If you've got a $5,000 card, and you don't want to use any more than 30%, then that means you can't use any more than $1,500 on that card to stay below the 30% utilization. And this is not the same percentage connected to the 30% that makes up your score. It's just that these two numbers just so happen to be the same. So I hope that's not confusing. So don't use any more than 30% of your card. Maybe it'll help you remember better. Don't use any more than 30% of your credit cards balances. Does that make sense? Credit card availability, and the credit card utilization matrix makes up 30% of your credit score. I think I got that right. But here's a boost tip. The boost tip, again, is using less than 30% of your available credit. So if you've got a $1,000 limit, then the aim is to use no more than $300. Next is the length of your credit history. The length of your credit history makes up 15% of your credit score. And what is the length of your credit history? It is how long you've had a particular line of credit. Creditors want to see a track record. This factor considers the age of your oldest account, the age of your newest account, and the average age of all of your accounts. So don't be so quick. Here's a boost tip. Do not hastily close old accounts, even if you're not using them. The longer your credit history, the better. Next, we have types of credit. Types of credit make up 10% on your credit score. So a mix of credit can be really good, like credit cards, mortgages, and installments. My mobile hotspot. I see y'all are back. Welcome back, online folks. And I'm going to see if I can put y'all on a hotspot here so this don't happen again, because this is important information. We don't want y'all missing it. So I just finished saying that types of credit, the boost tip for types of credit is to diversify your credit types, but only borrow what you can afford. Don't take on new credit just for the sake of diversity. Only get what you can afford. The next mix in the credit makeup is new credit, and that's 10%. Opening several new credit accounts in a short span can signal risk to lenders, so don't do that. I see that a lot. I stopped to scratch my head because I wanted to give a scenario, but for time's sake, I'm going to get through this information. Do not open a bunch of new credit card accounts in a short period of time. It's going to raise a red flag to lenders. New credit makes up 10% of your credit score. Here's a boost tip. Space out your credit applications. When you're shopping for a loan, do it in a short period of time. Multiple inquiries for the same type of loan count as a single inquiry if it's done within a 14 to 45 day window. So we tell people when shopping for a mortgage loan, if you are shopping and you want to compare rates with lenders without running the risk of having your credit score dinged several times, when you shop for that, as soon as that first mortgage lender runs your credit, the clock starts for 45 days. Go and get a second or a third opinion during that window of time, because your credit will only be hit 3 to 5 points in that one time in those 45 days. And you can then get 3 different loan mortgage. What's the word I'm looking for? 3 different examples of what your mortgage could be. Not the word I'm looking for, but y'all get it. I'm trying to stick to the time here. Okay, so credit inquiries. Credit inquiries. When a lender checks your credit for lending purposes, it's called a hard inquiry. I talked about that earlier. That might signal lower. That might slightly lower your score. When you don't check your own score or non-lending purposes, it's called a soft inquiry, and it doesn't affect the score. Let me say that again. When you check your own score, or when you look at your score for non-lending purposes, it's a soft inquiry and it doesn't affect your score. So a boost tip here is to only apply for credit when necessary to limit hard inquiries. Improving your credit score overall, it's a marathon. It is not a sprint. It's not something that's going to happen within 1 or 2 weeks. However, within 3 to 6 months, you can improve your credit score drastically. That's one of the reasons that I tell people to be careful when they are paying companies to clean, quote unquote, clean your credit, and you get caught in this subscription where you're paying several $100s a month or even thousands of dollars. At one time, I've heard people say, oh, I paid them $2,500 to clean my credit. If your intention for your credit score to improve is for something specific, and that company is not, doesn't specialize on how to prepare your credit and the things that you need to be removing and how to adjust your credit, contacting, if they don't know what they're doing, they could set you back. and not help you. And you could end up wasting a lot of money. So you want to be very careful. So we got to take a break. We talked about some crucial elements of a credit report and the pivotal factors that can shift your score. What to do if you're drowning in debt is next. Stick with us to find out. You're listening to 97.5 FM on KDEE. I'm Agent Key, and we'll be right back.
The Financial Empowerment Center, also known as the FEC, is a public service offered by the City of Sacramento through which local residents can receive professional, personalized one-on-one financial coaching. Sometimes when people think of a free service, we might think of it as low quality, but we're really the opposite of that. We strive to be super high quality in everything that we do at our work. I know people tend to be hesitant about talking about financial issues. It's something that, in our culture is not always acceptable to talk about, but just know that this is a safe space at the FEC.
So as a financial coach, my role is to be a guide. It's to equip my clients, to give them the tools and the resources, helping them with savings, with access to safe and affordable banking, increasing and improving their credit, reducing their debt, to build on the knowledge they already have, to help them meet those goals.
Anytime that you are partnering with somebody to meet your goals, it's very empowering because you have that extra person to motivate you. After the program, I feel more empowered to make better financial decisions and budget more effectively. My credit has shot up tremendously. I feel very great about the future. I'm almost ready to buy a home. I'm actually looking right now.
We offer services in both English and Spanish, and we also offer interpretation services in many other languages as well.
Bueno, mi experiencia, puedo decir que fue muy bien. Fue genial porque aprendí mucho y la verdad me ayudó como a abrir los ojos en realidad en los gastos que hacíamos y también necesitaba aprender más acerca de las cuentas de ahorros para los niños y el poder ahorrar un poquito para lo del colegio. Entonces antes pues gastábamos sin necesitarlo y ahora me hace como más consciente en lo que en verdad necesito y a lo que quiero. Bueno, pues ahora tengo esperanza en que pronto llegaremos a comprar una casa.
This work of the FEC is really personally meaningful to me because I grew up with really excellent parents, but they did struggle with money, and so I saw really firsthand the kind of struggles that creates, the stress. And that kind of stress is something that really affects people's physical health, their mental health. So to now be able to do work to help other folks both avoid crisis and also reach their goals, that's really personally satisfying for me.
For someone who's considering the program, my advice to you would be to just sign up and go for it. There's nothing to lose. You have everything to gain, which is financial responsibility and financial empowerment. You have a group of supportive counselors here to help you and nurture you along the way.
If you're interested in working with a financial empowerment coach, we would love to support you. So please give us a call at 916-808-4927 or email us at fec@cityofsacramento.org.
Here we go.
Hey everyone, we are back. Want to give a quick shout out online to Charles Williams. Brother Charles, very good points. He said, thank you, sir. Emitai said, I have late payments, but I'm back on track. When I'm applying for my home loan, will they use those late payments against me and possibly give me a higher interest rate? That is a great question. And I tried never to tread on the lender's lane. That's the financial mortgage question. And so I will direct you to your lender partner, Miss Emitai, to get that question answered. A lot of it is going to do with the type of loan program that you decide to move forward with. They're going to have their own guideline. It's a great question because it gives me the opportunity to let people know that different mortgage loans have different programs. They have different guidelines. And so with those guidelines, those will determine what they require of you, what they ask of you, and they will vary from person to person. So that is an excellent question. Hopefully that answered that for you. Ronnie said, I really want to thank you for all the information that you're sharing about credit. You are so welcome, Ronnie. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. We're going to jump right back in and discuss some strategies to manage and reduce your debt. Whatever I don't finish today, I'll put on the website. I'll try to come back and do it. We're going to get it into your hands one way or the other. So we all know that debt, it can feel like a heavy weight, but with the right strategies, it is manageable. And so we're going to talk about some practical steps to tackle and reduce debt. Number one is to list them all. You got to get them all down on a piece of paper. Look at them sapsuckers. Start by jotting down all of your debts, including balances, interest rates, and monthly payments. This is going to give you a clear picture, and it helps to prioritize which to pay off first. Second, there are two different methods that you could take. There are lots of different ones, two that we're going to talk about today: the snowball method and the avalanche method. The snowball method is where you start by paying off the smallest debt first, and then you move to the next smallest. And this approach can provide motivation because of the small victories. So you have $100 debt somewhere for, I have no idea what it's for, but it's $100. And you just make a decision that you're going to take some money from your paycheck, whether it's $5 a month or $20 a month, and you throw it at that one debt until it's paid off. That's only going to take you a few months, maybe. And the feeling of victory of accomplishing that, it does something to you psychologically that builds you up to say, I can do the next one too. And you take on the bigger debt and then bigger and bigger. The next method is the avalanche method. And that is where you take the debt with the highest interest rate first and you pay that down. This method can save you more money in the long run because that higher interest rate, the longer you hold on to that debt, the more money you're going to end up paying in interest. So that's the avalanche method. Next, I want you to consolidate your debts. Consider that. Consider combining multiple debts into one, especially when you can get a better interest rate, which gives you a better payment. So a personal loan or balance transferring your credit cards with low introductory rates can be helpful. But always, always, always read the fine print for fees or rate hikes. After a year, what is it going to do? So on and so forth. So be very careful about when you consolidate and putting everything on another card that you are actually benefiting from that and not going from the frying pan into the oven. Number 4, make more than the minimum payment. This is something that I've tried to do. I try to practice this with my credit cards. Credit card, you can have that balance forever, making that minimum $14 payment. My preference is to pay it off or pay off a huge amount as soon as possible. So paying more than the minimum whenever possible, pay more than the minimum, and it reduces the principal amount faster and it saves you more on interest. Next is to cut unnecessary spending. I hope you all are thinking about this and thinking, how might you apply these to your life to help your specific financial situation? This is a biggie. Evaluate your monthly expenses. There might be subscriptions that you don't need anymore or dining expenses that can be trimmed. I love eating out, but I have trimmed back on how much money I spend. Just start not looking at things over the year, looking at things monthly, looking at things weekly. How often am I going out to eat each week? And how can I shift that where I'm eating more at home and saving money? I try as much as possible now, full transparency, to go out on somebody else's dime. Hey, redirecting these funds toward debt can speed up your payoff journey. Next, you want to establish an emergency fund. And so this might seem counterintuitive when you're in debt, but having a small emergency fund prevents you from accumulating more debt when unexpected costs arise. So it's imperative, again, whether it's just $5 a paycheck that you set aside, and even if it's something that you don't put in the bank, but just have it in your house in a drawer, and you label that thing emergency fund so you're less likely to touch it. If it's a jar where you're just dropping in $5 here, $10 there, $100, you need something. You need to start somewhere with an emergency fund. Every little bit will help when that emergency arises, because again, it's not a matter of if, but when. Next, negotiate your interest rates. Give your creditors a call. Sometimes if you've been a good customer, they might lower your rate, which can help you pay off the balance faster. That actually happened to me a couple of years ago with my vehicle when I first bought it. I think it was maybe 7 or 8 months later, because I'm subscribed to Credit Karma and Experian. I've got 4 or 5 different things where I check my credit on a subscription basis and on a regular basis. But they often send me alerts letting me know, sometimes at the same time, oh, your credit's doing this now, and here are these opportunities available for you. And so it helped me reduce the rate on my car by 2%, saved me a ton of money. And now they're throwing things at me again, saying I could save a couple more $100 on my, what did it tell me? I think my auto insurance or something, maybe my mortgage, but I don't know about that. I haven't looked into it. I don't want to mess with it because my rate right now is really good compared to what's out there. So I don't know, but this is a part of you assessing your situation personally, making sure that it's right for you. Negotiate your interest rates. Next is to consider extra income. If it's possible, find ways to earn more money, because sometimes but I don't have any additional money to throw at paying down my debt. What's stopping you from getting additional income to throw at that debt, right? Whatever it is that you need to do, if you're determined to pay down your debt so that you can get to the next level in life, we find ways to make stuff happen, right? So if you can, consider extra income. Find a part-time gig, sell unused items, do some freelancing, take your gift and put it to work for you, and make that extra money and throw it at that debt. And definitely, number 9, avoid adding new debt. When you're working, paying off existing debt, don't accumulate anymore. So this means living within your means and refrain from adding new balances to credit cards. Next is to stay informed. Be aware of changes in interest rates, potential fees, or other terms related to your debt. Regularly review and understand your debt terms, because that will help you make better and more informed decisions. Before we get out of here, I only got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to put information about avoiding scams and predatory lending practices on my blog. I'll create a blog for that because there's a lot of information there, but I definitely want to address it and show you where to get it. Next, I do want to address how to develop habits for long-term credit health. Timely payments. Consistently pay your bills on time. If you're having a hard time, if you have more month than money, then that means you got to figure out how to get more money. Do what you need to do to personally self-check how to increase your income. Ask for that raise, increase your skill sets, look for a better job, start a business, get a side gig. Do what you need to do to increase that income so that you can pay your bills on time. We don't pay our bills on time mainly because we don't have the money there, because we're either mismanaging it or there's not enough coming in. So if you have enough coming in and you're mismanaging, just fix it. Quit mismanaging your money. If you don't have enough coming in, it's time to start looking inside of yourself and figuring out how to increase your earning power. Next is to maintain low balances. Use only a small portion of your money. That's the credit rule. Keep it below 30%. Next, monitor your credit. Review it regularly. Check for inaccuracies. Next, avoid any new debt. Diversify your credit. Limit hard inquiries. Set budgets and goals. Save for emergencies. Limit closing old accounts and stay educated. Automate payments. Seek professional advice. Right? And as we talk about seeking professional advice, I want to point out, if you've been watching us online, you've been seeing during the commercial breaks, the Sacramento Financial Empowerment Center. And the Sacramento Financial Empowerment Center offers free professional financial coaching to Sacramento residents age 18 and up. You can get assistance with reducing debt, building your savings, enhancing your credit, and more. Whether you speak English, Spanish, whatever, they've got you covered. And the best part is it is entirely free. So whether you want to hop on a call or a video chat, reach out to them at 916-808-4927, 916-808-4927, or email the Financial Empowerment Center at, or actually it should be FEC, which stands for Financial Empowerment Center, at cityofsacramento.org, FEC at cityofsacramento.org. Or you can do what I did and just Google Sacramento Financial Empowerment Center and it'll show up. Take that step towards a brighter financial future. I had some more items that I wanted to chat with you all about, but go to my blog because I'm going to post them all there as blogs within the next 24 hours. And if you were watching last week when we were talking, we talked today about credit, but last week we spoke specifically on, I'm going to the blog and I'm going to tell you, From Broke to Balanced, Your Ultimate Guide to Smart Budgeting. At the end of the show, there were some forms and tools and other resources that I discussed. They are now there, downloadable, available to you on my website at the blog for that show. We have the link to NerdWallet's 8 best budget apps for 2023. We have the Daily Expense Tracker, which is an easy tool to help you keep track of your daily expenses and to gain insights into your spending habits. We have the 50-30-20 worksheet, which is a guideline to help you divide your income into needs, wants, and savings, allowing you to budget more effectively. We have the SMART Goal Setting Explanation Worksheet, which is a comprehensive guide on how to set SMART goals. And remember what we said, SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals. And then we have the SMART Goal Setting Short-Term and Long-Term Worksheet. And so this is an organized template that helps you in setting your immediate and future objectives. And they're designed to empower you on your financial journey to success. And if you have any further questions or guidance that you need, feel free to reach out to me. That is my time, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope this show has enlightened you on rebuilding your credit and that you'll join us again next week. And to those who've been with us online, your engagement doesn't end here. Keep the conversation alive on my social platforms. For our radio audience, we'll be back next week with more insights on selling Sacramento, brought to you by Matthews & Company Realty Group. Remember, together, we are stronger, better informed, and more equipped to face any real estate challenge. Until next time, wishing you strength, wellness, and love. And remember, if you are doing what you created to do, I'll see you at the top. Hi, Raj. Bye, you guys.